guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us again. Today we are overcast and gloomy kind of day, so we decided we're gonna have some soup for dinner. So today what we're gonna have is a super low carb, healthy, delicious roasted cauliflower and leek soup with some roasted chicken on top as well. So first what we're gonna do is I was at the grocery store earlier and I saw this beautiful head of cauliflower which inspired the soup. So we're gonna go ahead and cut it up and get it in the oven. So let's go ahead and first you wanna just cut it in half here. You're gonna end up with two halves like this. I'm gonna throw away the green, and then how I cut it is, let me see if I can come this way, is I just kind of come around the core like this. Ooh, almost. And then I just peel these green things off. Come that way. Set that to the side. And then these bigger chunks, we want to kind of cut them down, make them a little smaller so they kind of roast more evenly. Because we want as much caramelization on these as we can get, because caramelization equals flavor. So I'm gonna just keep chopping this and then we'll come back when we're done with that. Okay, so even though this comes, wrapped in plastic and stuff, there's still dirt and bugs from where it was grown. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this a rinse and then I'll show you what we do next. Okay, so this is what you're gonna end up with. Of course, it's gonna be all wet, but that's all right. So we'll just let it drain here for a moment while we get our sheet pan ready. Sorry, that was loud. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna spray the sheet pan with some avocado oil. This is my favorite oil to cook with. It's healthy, it's high heat, which means I can cook it at a high heat without it burning. My favorite. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take these, even though they're still wet, that's okay. They will dry in the oven, promise. So I want to try to leave these little small bits behind because they'll burn in the oven. It's not what we want. So then I'm going to take my favorite oil again, avocado, just give it a little spray. We're going to take coarse kosher salt, just a little sprinkle. We want to salt this just a little bit before so that it can start bringing out the moisture while it's in the oven. So now I'm going to bake this or roast this actually at 400 degrees on convection. I'll check it starting at about 15 minutes and see if it's starting to brown, and then I will give it a little stir, so that it can brown evenly. We'll come back. Okay, so while the cauliflower is roasting, we're gonna go ahead and prep our leeks. This is a leek. You wanna use most all of the white up until the light part of the green. This is up here, it's very tough, it's very fibrous, it doesn't cook down well. So I throw it away. So this is, or you can use it, freeze it, and save it for your vegetable stock if you make that. So unfortunately, that's a lot of waste, and this is all we're gonna use. I will save it for my vegetable stock though. So I'm gonna cut the root part off, and you wanna cut it in half. The thing about leeks, they are very sandy, dirty. This one's actually pretty good. But what you want to do is you want to cut them in half moons, and then we want to put them in a bowl of cold water. Cold so they stay firm. I mean, I guess you're cooking them so they don't necessarily have to, but you want to agitate them and get that sand out of there. Let me cut this half and see if I can find some sand to show you. There's no sand in that one either. There is some on my board though. So whether we see sand or not, dirt, we're gonna just continue cleaning them. So I'm gonna just finish cutting all these and then I'll come back when we're done. All right, so what I'm doing now is I'm just going in here and making sure I have every single layer broken up, because like I said, that dirt and sand really likes to hide in between those layers. And for me, there's nothing worse than biting into a piece of dirt or sand or something that's not supposed to be in your meal. So I'm gonna take my time and I'm really gonna just agitate these, swish them around. I'm just kind of doing this motion in the water. If they break up, it's fine. I'm gonna cook them down anyway, so I'm not really worried about that. Any really dark spots that made it through, we're gonna take those out. Because like I said, they're tough and fibrous and they just don't cook down well. It's a thick one. Okay, so now that I have them as broken up as I can for the most part, I'm gonna just skim the top and put them in a colander. So we're gonna give them one more final rinse. And I'm wearing gloves because I don't like my hands to smell like onions. So one more rinse. So if you can see, the water is like really cloudy, and I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but at the very bottom there's like bits and pieces of dirt and sand. So if we hadn't done this, all of that would have been in your soup. And I'm not okay with that. So I'm just gonna dump the rest. So this is what we are left with. Out of all of that, which surprisingly, leeks are relatively inexpensive. I mean, in comparison to onions, they are more expensive, but like I said, we're not gonna waste this. We're gonna put this in our vegetable broth later, so we are gonna use that part. But I think for this, it was like £1.5 pounds, and I think it was like $3, something like that, which, you know, yeah, I could have used onions, but leeks are better. So we're gonna take this over to the stove now with some butter. Okay, so now we are at the stove. We are going to take roughly, let's say 2 tablespoons of butter. If we need more, we can add more. We're just gonna melt that down a bit. Now that our butter is melted, we are going to toss in our leeks. And we want to make sure we get all of it. Except a couple. Except for the ones that jump out of the pot here. So then we just are going to turn this down. I have it on high right now just to get the butter melted, but we are going to turn it down to a medium low, a 3 on my stove, and we just want to sweat these. We don't want to really caramelize these too much because we're going to have the caramelization on the cauliflower. Speaking of the cauliflower, I'm going to go give that a check really quick and just see what it looks like. I don't know how long this has been in here, 5, 6 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that. So we just want to come in here and give this a turn because we want it to be equally caramelized. We do want to watch out for these little bits that did escape us and get into the pan so that they don't burn, because anything that's burnt will give us a little bit of a bitter flavor in our soup, and we want to avoid that. All right, so now we are going to cut up some chicken. Sorry, I'm laughing at my daughter behind the camera. We're gonna cut up some chicken and saute it so that we can top it on, or put it on top of our soup, or serve it with our soup, just so we have some extra protein. So this chicken has been washed and trimmed before I sealed it away and froze it. So I will go ahead and just do a little extra trimming here. But so, we're just gonna get into it. Okay, so while I was cutting the chicken, these actually did start caramelizing, and you know what? I'm not mad at it. They smell fantastic. They look delicious. Little bits of brown. I think our cauliflower is actually pretty close to being ready, so I'm going to go ahead and get the chicken started. We're going to go on high heat. I'm going to use some more of this garlic oil. It's probably like 2.5, 3 tablespoons maybe, pushing it for 3. Yeah, I'd say more like 2. Alright, so we're gonna let that come up to heat. I'm gonna go check the cauliflower. Okay, so I'm gonna take this and get our chicken cubes in there. And so what we are going to season this with, we really like garlic in this house, so we're going to go with a little granulated garlic. Okay, maybe a little more than a little. A little granulated onion. A little more than a little. So a lot of black pepper because I love pepper. Plus, we are going to be using some turmeric in our soup, so we want to put the black pepper in there to activate the turmeric. This is a heaping teaspoon of curry powder as well as probably 1/4 of a teaspoon of ginger powder. So we're going to put that in there and give this a good mix. Get those spices in there, so thank you. Get those spices in there so they can kind of toast up too. If the chicken didn't have, that curry smells fantastic. If the chicken didn't have such a long cooking time, what I would have done is I would have toasted my spices in the oil first, but I don't want them to burn. So they're just gonna get a little toasty while they're in here cooking with the chicken. So let me give this another stir. I'm just starting to get a little toasty. They look fantastic actually. And that's going to contribute a little bit to our color, the ending color of our soup. So now, this is the turmeric that I was speaking of earlier. So we're going to go, this is I didn't actually measure this, but I would say roughly a teaspoon. So we're going to go in with that. And some more black pepper. If you don't like a lot of black pepper, go easy on it. I love black pepper. So what you see here are 2 jars of homemade chicken bone broth. If you don't have bone broth or you haven't made bone broth before, we will cover that in another video. But this is fantastic. It is so good. It's full of collagen. It's full of all the yummy goodness that your body needs. So I'm going to go in with this jar first and see where that puts us. And if I need to, I have another jar here. Yeah, I'm definitely going to need that other jar. While I'm doing that, I am going to also add some more, can I have a spoon or a fork? Oh, yeah. I'm going to add some more of this roasted garlic. And buy some more, probably quite a bit. Want to make sure not to forget our chicken. We do want that crust on there though. That's flavor. My pan is looking a little dry, so I might go in with just a little bit more garlic oil. Probably another 1.5 tablespoons, I would say. Give that a good mix here. So I think our cauliflower is about ready to pull out from the oven. Let's go check that. So this is what our cauliflower looks like. You could have taken it a little further. I didn't really want to because, like I said, I have these little bits on here that I was really afraid that they were going to burn. So we're just gonna add all of our cauliflower in there. Hopefully we don't lose any. Oh, we lost one. 2, maybe 3. I don't know. So then we just want to let this come to a simmer. I am going to turn the heat up just a bit. Let this come to a simmer. Finish cooking that cauliflower all the way through because we are going to blend this a little bit. You can put it in the blender and take it all the way to a smooth puree. We like a little texture in our soups. So I'm probably just going to stick blender this or immersion blender so that we still have some texture there. But I am going to go ahead and taste this broth and see where we're at with flavor. We need a little salt. So I'm going to start with that, maybe there. So it was also suggested to me that you guys might like the price breakdown on some of these meals that I'm making, so I will work on that in future videos. This one, if I had to guess, I got the chicken on sale at $1.77 a pound, so this is probably, I don't know, a pound and a half of chicken. The cauliflower was 49 cents a pound, I think. Maybe not, maybe 99 cents a pound. The leeks, like I said, were like $3. This was made with chicken bones that I was gonna throw away anyway, so really it didn't cost me anything. The garlic, I think I pay $9 for like a 5-pound bag of garlic from Sam's Club. And then the oil, spices, so maybe $5 for the meal-ish, 6. Less than 10 for sure, I would say less than 10. I'm gonna give this one more taste. Oh, yep. That's delicious. You know what? Since I love it so much, I'm actually gonna throw some in with the chicken. And while I'm at it, I'm gonna grab another spoon. Even though I used some oil in there, like, for me, you just can't have enough garlic. So we're going to just mash that in there. And I think our chicken is pretty much done. My daughter's sneaking a taste. So yeah, oh yeah, our chicken's way done. Yep. So I'm gonna take a piece out actually, that super caramelized one right there, deliciousness. I'm gonna let it cool a bit. My daughter and I are gonna taste it. I need more salt, but it's good. A little bit more salt, guys. Ooh, it's got just a little bit of kick from the curry. Oh yeah, that's good. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and crank up this soup. Now that our chicken's done, we want it to be hot when we serve it. So it was 4, 5, 6.5 cups of chicken bone broth. You can use beef bone broth, you can use vegetable broth, you can use whatever you have. You can use water. I don't recommend it because it's not a lot of flavor, but you can. So yeah, we're just gonna give this a few more minutes and then we're gonna stick our immersion blender in there. So now I just have a little KitchenAid immersion blender. We're gonna go at it. So you can see there's some texture. It's not the most appealing looking soup, but it is delicious, I guarantee you. So we're just gonna go a little bit more. Okay, so we're just gonna let this reduce a little bit more because I do want it a little thicker. You could serve it like this if you want. You could put it in a blender and get it all the way down to where there's no texture if that's how you want it. The soup is very, very forgiving. Most soups are. So yeah, we're just gonna let this reduce a bit and we'll come back when it's ready. All right, so we've let this reduce quite a bit. You can tell the consistency, it's a lot thicker, it's bubbling. So we're gonna turn it off. And I'm gonna show you how I serve this. So we just wanna come in here, ladle a bit, and then I do a dollop of yogurt. You could do sour cream if you wanted to. I like the yogurt. I like the tanginess that it gives. I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna grab some chicken and just put it right on top. The yogurt really complements it. It gives it a nice creamy finish to it. With the chicken, it is so good, so good. So yeah, get in the kitchen, experiment, make some soup. You don't have to do it exactly like I did. You don't even have to make this exact same soup. I just encourage you to get in the kitchen, know what's in your meals, know what you're feeding your family. What do we have in here? 5 ingredients, 6 ingredients, the spices. Get in the kitchen, guys.